every company should have a gaming division. Every company, I don't care if you Dunkin' Donuts, every company should have a gaming division within it. Period.
Yeah, you know what time it is. You know what time it is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Brands in Play, the podcast exploring immersive marketing and the people who are leading it. I'm Eli Santos from Vibeglass and the Metavertising Podcast.
And I'm Nick Hill from Sawhorse. In this episode, we're covering PUBG's World Cup integration. Fable 5 is back. Sony invests $100 million into Cosm, and Samsung's new glasses got leaked.
And for our real-time review, we're going to be breaking down McDonald's a new Snapchat AR campaign. And we've got Frank Shi from Paper Triangles, the studio behind it, to walk us through their work in collectible digital experiences, location-based tech, and social sharing.
Then later in the show, I sit down with gaming journalist, radio host, and content creator Gerard HipHopGamer Williams, a guy who's been changing the face of gaming since 2008. We get into how authenticity became his biggest asset, why trust matters more than reach, and how creators are connecting hardcore communities within the biggest brands.
Make sure to subscribe, guys. Every week we break down how brands, platforms, and creators are showing up across gaming, entertainment, and immersive media.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Run it up.
Eli, you're back, and I hear Europe has cooled down a little bit. So you surviving out there?
Yeah. The temperature is a little better. It's supposed to increase back again next week, but for now it's nice. As I was saying, I think as a Brazilian, I can handle it a bit better than the average European. So for me, it's been nice actually. Like the heat. For me, it's just like it feels like home. So
Nice. Yeah, growing up in Southern California in the heat, I'm used to it as well. But yeah, it's hectic out there. Anything else happening in your world right now?
So I'm really excited about like some of the updates that have come out in technology, and I'm gonna be talking a little bit more about it in this episode. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, lots moving forward. I will just mention that Sawhorse was awarded an award from the Lit Entertainment Awards, which is this cool industry event, which is going on right now. We took platinum and gold for our work on the Warner Brothers One Battle After Another and Center's Fortnite campaigns. So props to the
That's
team.
amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go into the news. All right, so for the news this week, my first story is all about PUBG's World Cup integration. Did you see anything about this online, Eli?
Yeah, I actually did. Like, it was all over my feed like a couple of days ago, I guess. Like, I've seen it. I didn't understand it really well, so I'm curious to hear what it's all
Yeah,
about.
I'll break it down a little bit. So PUBG Mobile is one of the biggest games on the planet. The user base over 100 million players. It's a battle royale type of game. And essentially this month they launched Flame On football season. And it's running now through July 21st. It's all timed with the World Cup, which is really smart. And essentially it's built around the Portugal versus Argentina rivalry. And they licensed national teams partnerships, Portugal, Argentina, Iraq, and Uzbekistan, and created jersey sets across the board. And so in this instance, PUBG most likely worked directly with those teams to license their IP to put it into the game. And the way it shows up is very sort of organic and natural. And these are free jerseys or skins that you can kind of, attach to your avatar. There's collectible cards inside the game, and there's these match day celebrations. So it's a pretty natural sort of organic way of like getting that IP in. And from a strategic standpoint, it's smart because they studied their audience and they knew that about 90% of PUBG mobile users follow football, and almost half of them are big World Cup fans. So it's just like really giving the audience what they want to experience and what they care about. When you are able to integrate into a massive title like PUBG, it's really smart because you can reach such a massive number. But also, if you could do it organically, so it's not just a logo slap, that's always the best way to do it. And PUBG continues to do these really interesting integrations with brands that I've been impressed with over the years.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, I have played PUBG back in the day. I know that they're very popular in Brazil. I know a lot of the Brazilian kids play PUBG. So I'm surprised there's no Brazilian team represented there, but still very interesting. I think, Portugal and Argentina definitely like some of the biggest, like we have Messi, we have Cristiano Ronaldo. And I love when games manage to do like an integration in a way that makes sense, you know, like
Yeah.
and also like they're surfing like a trend that is happening right now, which in this case is the World Cup. So I think timing wise, you know, it sounds perfect. And in terms of target audience, as you said, I'm sure a lot of the kids that play PUBG, they also love football, they love soccer. So I guess this one was definitely on point.
Right on. All right. What's your next story?
All right, so I'm gonna talk about Fable 5. We've been talking about we've been talking about Fable 5. Like we've talked about it many times, like how it came out and then it was taken out again, and then now it's finally back, like officially back. Supposedly, like when it was originally launched, they had decided to pull it offline for 3 weeks, which is back today, like July 1st. Apparently, like an Amazon found jailbreak that triggered this whole thing, like the government taking it out and everything, since it's a very powerful model supposedly. So the fear, kind of like the concern, was that every competitor of like Anthropic and also like every rival company of like the big tech company corporations that are using these models could potentially also jailbreak Fable and do like crazy things. So Anthropic patched it, and now they're writing jailbreak severity standards together with Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, and cooperating with the government to write industry safety rules. Supposedly, they also like patch like the cybersecurity side so that Fable is not used, to break the cybersecurity of big organizations. But now it's finally back, and it's supposedly that's like the most powerful model that we have available today worldwide. As I was saying, like when it first came out, I tested it, and it's funny because like when I was testing it, I was like, yeah, it's definitely more powerful, but it doesn't feel like it's like that more powerful. And then they took it out, and then I had to go back to Opus 4.8, and then I that was the moment when I actually realized how powerful it actually was, because I was
Oh,
trying to do
okay.
the same tasks and Opus didn't do them very well. And I was
Oh,
like, damn, I
interesting.
guess I guess Fable is actually very powerful. So I think that's really interesting. And I think, for brands that are listening, jump into it, test, especially I recommend testing like the co-working mode and the cloud code mode, and also the integrations with other tools such as
Mm-hmm.
Higgsfield, which we've talked about in the previous episode, because it is indeed very powerful. And I think like you could potentially like have an edge learning how to use like how to best leverage Fable 5 before anyone else. So yeah, I guess that's really cool. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't really know the difference. I haven't tested A/B'd them, but I am running the new one, just yet started yesterday. So, good to know that there is a big jump forward. I guess I'm curious, like, do you think that it is like fully under control and safe? Like that was the thought in my mind. It was like, okay, government wanted to pump the brakes on it. They went back and they put some protections in place. Then they released it. My
Yeah.
argument is like, is that really like enough to keep this thing under control, or can that also be hacked?
I think first of all, it's important to understand that we are very creative as a race, like mankind. We are like we can figure stuff out, like we can come up with different
We're
ideas for stuff.
innovative.
We're innovative for sure, yeah. So I think like it's difficult to say if it's like 100%, fail proof, if it's like impossible to jailbreak. I think that's like a very bold statement, and I don't think it's true. But it's definitely safer now. Honestly, like I've never like I remember when AI first came out, I would try to jailbreak it just for fun. But nowadays I don't like spend time trying to do that. I just want to leverage the model's best, like features and just the
Right.
potential of the model to do stuff that I actually needed. So, but to your question, no, I don't think it's fully, like safe and, like,
I'm just waiting. I'm not looking forward to this, but I am waiting for
yeah,
the moment where something horrible happens at a pretty large scale because of AI, and then we all look at that and be like, "Oh, wow, it is dangerous."
yeah,
That's coming. But
yeah.
let's move on.
Terminator, that's the Terminator plot,
Oh
right?
yeah, Skynet. Skynet's coming for sure. Just give it a minute. All right, so moving on to the third story is all about how Sony is investing $100 million into Cosm. It's a really cool spot. Think about it as like a mini sphere. So the sphere that's in Las Vegas, that
Yeah,
technology is pretty insane. This is not as insane and advanced as that. It's like a smaller micro level. But essentially, Cosm is an immersive entertainment company that's building these immersive dome locations. And
Okay.
inside, they play live sports, concerts, and films. I've been to one. We did a real time review on Brands and Play in the past. It's pretty awesome. Like you go there with your friends, you sit down, and it's like you're just immersed in the content. It's one of those things that you have to go experience to really understand it. But they're scaling really quickly. There's a location in LA, a location in Dallas. They just opened a new one in Atlanta recently. And then next up is Detroit and Cleveland. And then they have a plan to open 50 locations by 2030. So they've got the investment dollars, they've got demand. And now what's interesting is now they got the content, because this partnership with Sony is interesting, that it is opening up its library and franchises of content that they can put into these Cosms. Because right now there's a lack of shows and entertainment that they can consume. They're only playing 3 movies right now: The Matrix, Willy Wonka, and Harry Potter film. And so they kind of cycle those movies, and then they also do a ton of live sports. But the catalog's not there for content at scale. So Sony coming in improves that. And also it's really interesting because this is an indicator that a major studio is essentially validating this form of entertainment. Like this new way to consume content. Having a pro like Sony validate it is really smart. Also, there's this concept of the third screen that's emerging. So it's like, when a IP comes out, first you have the theatrical window that they can monetize on. Then they have home streaming, and then that's pretty much it. So this new option, if they can do this at scale, is sort of like this, eventized, immersive moment that they can come back to later. So it's a new monetization model.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. As I said, I was looking into it before our recording here, and I thought it was really, really cool. Like, it's really, I think the coolest thing about it is that it doesn't require additional equipment. You go there and like like you order, like it's like you're in this. The scenes that I've seen, like it looks like you're in the stadium, right? So that
Yep.
is really, really, really cool. And I think with the right content, and also like with brands or like big publishers building content already thinking about this format, I think that's what's really cool. Like we've
Yep.
been seeing, like you mentioned, the Sphere. We've been seeing some artists building, like creating concerts that are like custom for the Sphere, and these are like immediately goes viral on social media, and it looks amazing. Like I've never been there, but it looks amazing. So I think this is like let's say a simpler version of this, but it's still awesome.
Right.
Still super immersive, and I fully agree with you. I think, brands should start thinking about how to show up in these types of formats the right way.
What's our last story?
All right, so we got a big leak this week about Samsung's upcoming setup instructions and controls that you're going to be able to use with the glasses, which is supposedly like a tutorial that you get when you buy the glasses and you want to connect
Okay.
them with your phone. And this was obviously ahead of even the launch of the Google glasses, so that's really interesting. So it shows some of the controls, like you can swipe to change tracks, tap for calls, a dedicated camera button, 2 recording LEDs, one facing bystanders, and a controller app that comes pre-installed on Galaxy watches. And hints also that you're going to be able to control the glasses with a Galaxy Ring as well, which is really interesting. So I think Samsung is trying to create like kind of like an Apple effect with the ecosystem, where you're kind of locked into their ecosystem and you have their products and it works really well, very seamlessly. Really interesting to see yet another big tech that is like jumping in and building, in the space. And I think, like, I've been talking so much about glasses in the past few episodes. I think this is yet another sign. So for me, what does it mean for brands? It's, yet another signal that you should be paying attention to the space, and you should start thinking about, how do I integrate my brand into this new format? Because I think, like, when we talk about, for example, formats like Cosm or the Sphere, or like, like these are formats that are extremely immersive. It's really interesting. Brands should be there, but these are not scalable, as you said, right? Like they are still trying to figure out like how to scale in terms of locations, in terms of content. This is a completely different format that is highly scalable and that people build content for it, right? So it's only a matter of time until like a lot of people have glasses and there's a lot of content for glasses as well. And then that's just where the attention is going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, love to
Yeah,
hear your
great
thoughts.
point. I mean, I think it is a great moment for a brand to jump in and start to experiment with this new technology and just show up in a way that's intentional so that you can learn. And over time, as mass adoption starts to take place, you'll already be ahead of the competition and find ways of reaching consumers and adding value to their experiences. And then I do think that the Google Android XR system does have a high potential for mass adoption because it's always been very open, a huge user base, and also cost effective. So I think that it's really going to be exciting to see what happens later this year and early Q1 next year of when these products start hitting the shelves. Well, let's move on to our next segment of our real-time review. We're super excited because we're going to be looking at the McDonald's Snapchat World Cup AR activation that's happening right now. And we're super lucky because the dev and studio that actually made it, Paper Triangles, we have the co-founder, Frank Shi, who's going to join us for a chat about all this new activation. Let's go. What's up, man?
What's up,
How's it
guys? How
going?
are you?
I'm good. We're good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Great meeting you at AWE and learning about your company and what you guys are doing in the augmented reality space and your work with Snapchat. So I'm impressed by it. And we saw this McDonald's activation come up, and I was like, we got to have him on the show. I want to learn more about this. So Frank, welcome. And can you tell us a little bit about like how this app functions? Like what did you build?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was really good meeting you as well, Nick. Yeah, so we built this kind of penalty kick like experience on Snapchat. It was kind of linked to this social activation McDonald's where they had like their talents kind of try to shoot or kick a soccer ball in the middle of the McDonald's logo, and they had this kind of social campaign with it with Ronaldinho and Lamine Yamal. So
Cool.
the idea kind of came from there, where we did a penalty kick style experience where user get to drag the soccer ball on the phone and it'll kind of aim and shoot, and you kind of try to do the same and try to kick the ball right in the middle of the McDonald's logo. So that's kind of where the idea came from, and that's kind of what we kind of built an experience on Snapchat. So allowing users to kind of have a personalized gamified experience with their Bitmoji, and ultimately trying to be a part of this kind of campaign. And then we also included like a leaderboard where if you have users around the world playing, you can see who's does the best, who's really kind of killing it in the game. So that was kind of the experience, really, right? Just a gamified kind of penalty kick like game experience.
Nice. Can you talk a little bit about like the augmented reality functionality of this activation? Maybe make that a bit more clear for our listeners.
Yeah, so it's just it's kind of like a full swing takeover a little bit, and you're kind of tracked a little bit on the world playing. So the users can get to tilt their screen and kind of really aim at where they are, and a lot of functionalities on their phones, just drag and shoot. So very simple. We like to keep these games very kind of like one interaction, not too complicated. Really about going about the fun and try to play the game rather than sometimes AR can get a little more cumbersome. You have 20 instructions. So we've learned over the years that really just simple games that have really kind of simple AR does the best for the users.
Low friction.
Yes, yes.
That's really cool. That's awesome. And I'm curious. Like you kind of tapped into it already, but I'm curious. What do you see as the value that this offers to consumers and also to a brand like McDonald's?
Yeah, for a brand like McDonald's, like they're really trying to target kind of the younger demographic, and that's kind of what Snapchat has really done well is capture that kind of younger demographic. And for for brands, it's kind of like a different way to kind of advertise, right? You're not really giving them a video to look at. You're asking them to participate in the brand, participate in the experience, participate in the campaign, and kind of really kind of put their own their own spin on there, right? And the Bitmoji really does a good job of that. It's personalized. Everyone's Bitmoji is different, so everyone can have their own experience about this and really kind of put their stamp into this campaign and be a part of it. So I think that's really the value here. So that it's that like the younger demographic and really can jump into this, and that's what McDonald's see value as well. Like we've been working with McDonald's for a very long time, and they've done various campaigns, and I think for them, the younger demographic is like really important, and that's kind of what they capture. And also the gamify experience is very interesting. I think it draws users in, it allows them to stay on the platform longer, engage with the brand longer, and I think that really brings a lot of value for them.
Awesome.
It's
Well,
amazing.
amazing work on this campaign, Frank. We're big fans of what you
Thank
guys
you.
are doing over at Paper Triangles. You guys are crushing it. Keep it going. And thanks for joining us on Brands and Play.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me, Nick. Like, yeah, appreciate it. All right,
Thank
take
you.
care, guys. Peace.
So let's move on to our interview. We've got Gerard HipHopGamer Williams, one of gaming's most recognized personalities. He's interviewed the biggest names in gaming, tech, and sports, and worked with brands like Chase, Xbox, PlayStation, and Samsung. Everyone talks about creators becoming their own media companies. Gerard's done that himself, and proof that real influence is all about credibility and connection and not just reach. So let's go to our interview with HipHopGamer. All right, HipHopGamer is on Brands and Play. Gerard, thank you for joining us.
Yo, son, Brands and Play all day. My brother Nick in the building. You know what I'm saying? Gotta spin the chain for you. One love, dog. It's an honor to be here, son. Let's get it.
Thank you, sir. Let's start with some background on yourself. I mean, you've made a lot of impact across gaming, but not all of our listeners might not be familiar with you. So can you explain a little bit about yourself, your background, and kind of what impact you're making in gaming culture right now?
Yeah, nah, absolutely, dog. So it all started with my grandmother, like literally, my grandmother, rest in peace. She's the one who taught me how to play video games when I was 4 years old, bro. Crazy, and she was nice. Like her favorite character in gaming is Laura Croft, like period. But she played
Wait,
everything.
you were 4 years old. What games were you playing when you were 4? What era
Yeah,
is this?
yeah. So I was playing. So the first game I ever played in my life was Pac-Man.
Yeah.
That's the first game I ever played. Atari 2600, joystick, red button at the top right. Like, that's what we rock with. But the game that made me a gamer was Super Mario Brothers, Nintendo.
Of
Like, you know what I'm
course.
saying? That game made me a gamer, like, for the rest of my life. Duck Hunt, all of that. Like, it was crazy. So my grandmother, she also used it as a tool to keep me off the streets. I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. So if you think about, like, East New York, Brooklyn, especially back in the 80s, it was crazy. Yo, bro, to let you know how crazy it was, so there is a movie called Death Wish 3 with Charles Bronson back in the day, and it was filmed in East New York, Brooklyn. Yo, it was so crazy. My house was in that movie. And they had robbed this like old lady and stuff like that. But like that's where I grew up. So my grandmother utilized games as a way to keep me off the streets and keep me safe. It also used it as a tool to teach me about life through video games. And then fast forward to today, 2026. I'm the first gamer to ever be officially partnered with Chase Bank. You know what I'm saying? First gamer to ever officially be partnered with the New York Stock Exchange and FinTech TV, which is insane. The first gamer to ever partner with Denzel Washington, bringing my gaming program to his school, as well as being a partner with the Board of Education at scale, which is insane with my Playmakers program, getting students $100 an hour paid to play games, to do reports and reviews on them. I even brought the gaming program to Rikers Island, where I got inmates in jail getting paid to play games as well, which is like mind-blowing. That's never happened before. I'm nationally syndicated. I'm on Hot 97. I'm with the GGL, Global Gamer League. I'm a character in different video games like Watch Dogs 2 and NBA 2K Playgrounds 1 and 2 and many more. I did the theme songs for a lot of these games, as well as Street Fighter 6 as well. Like, so many things. So when I tell y'all this is my life, I love it. I grew up in it, and I'm blessed to be able to do so much to put myself in a position to give back. It is unbelievable, making my grandma proud, and I'm looking to continue to do that, with the years to come. So that's just a little bit about my background, and there's so much more to tell, but yo, it's an honor to be here, like I said before.
Tons of impact across a lot of different verticals across gaming. It's super impressive.
Yeah.
I kind of want to drill down on a little something like you're kind of connecting hip hop culture with gaming culture. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember, like, I grew up in the 80s. I was playing Nintendo. I didn't there back in the day, I didn't see that big of a like crossover between hip hop culture and gaming culture. It's certainly changed today. So I'm curious if you can talk about like what that crossover looks like.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I said this before, But I'm going to say it in deeper detail here. You know, say this is brands in play. So we got to go a little deeper. You know what I'm saying? So I love hip hop. I love games, but I am the individual that embodies the voice and the lifestyle of both in one. So that right there never existed. You had a lot of people that love hip hop and they'll play games and stuff like that, but you never had somebody that as a career, the nature of who they are embedded both. And not only that, I play games, I'm nice, but I'm actually an artist. Like I make music for real. Like I do this
Yep.
at the highest level. So it brings the authenticity to light when you're able to merge those cultures.
Oh man, I love that crossover. All right, the next thing I want to jump to is something that you focus on in your career, which is how Black culture is being represented in video games.
Yeah.
And you were nominated for an NAACP Image Award for
Yep.
gaming and technology, which is awesome. So, how do you feel about representation today of Black culture in video games?
We not where we need to be. We're not where we need to be. It could be a whole lot better. Has it gotten better? Yes, it has gotten better, but we're not where we need to be. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. So when you think about like in the 70s, right? I forgot which year it was. I think it was 76 or maybe 78. But that's when the first ever home console got introduced, and that was the Magnavox Odyssey. And remember, it didn't have cartridges and stuff like that. It was just, I think it had like 6 games, but it was built
Built
into the
in.
system and stuff like that, right? So that's how I started. Now, when you think about media dollars and marketing dollars, we going all the way back to the 70s, all the way up to now and stuff like that. By default, the imagery that you always seen when it came to who would get all the FaceTime, it was always traditionally a white male in the suburbs and a family in the suburbs and stuff like that. The only time any type of Black person got any recognition when it came to marketing and media dollar spend at a high level, they had to be famous. They had to
Yeah.
be, doing something. So I'll give you an example. The old Mike Tyson Punch Out. You got Mike Tyson. He's Black, but it's Mike Tyson.
He's
It's not
famous.
the average. There you go. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about Buster Douglas Botson, Buster Douglas, you know what I'm saying? When you think about NBA games, you got Kobe, or you know what I'm saying? We had to be so much more to get any recognition, but the average everyday gamer that was Black never got that at all for many, 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 many years. So it set a precedence that Black people wasn't a part of the culture. Now, what didn't help though is that growing up in the hood, whenever we did comics and anime and games and cool things, even in our own hood, you was labeled as a nerd, you was corny, you don't get no girls, you whack, even when we loved that stuff. So it wasn't just the way the system was designed in terms of media, marketing, stuff like that, but even in our own culture, it was looked at as something bad, like to be ashamed of. So it was bad. When you started seeing more sports games like NBA Live and Madden, and they started having soundtracks, and more hip hop artists was getting on the soundtracks, you got Snoop Dogg and Fabulous and everybody, you start seeing these crossovers. Once they started receiving money and people started finding out that you can make money in this space, now it's like, oh, wait, maybe we should look at this a little different and stuff like that. So then it started to blend and change a little bit. Now, then ushers in the social media era, YouTube 2006 and stuff like that. And now more people are putting themselves out there so more people could see that Black people actually like games and could be in a spot. But it still wasn't represented because when you see games that's being made, like if you look at Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, CJ is the lead, but look at what the premise of the game was. In the hood, crack,
Yeah,
coke,
yeah.
robbing, gangbanging, because that fit the description of what a Black person did and the way it was marketed in society. So even though we was there under a certain condition. When you look at the marketing dollars that's spent on the messaging of games, and I'm not just talking about games, I'm talking about even media. Like look at, whether it's IGN, Kotaku, like all of
Yep.
media,
The media,
period.
gaming
You know what I'm
media. Yep.
saying? When you look at the percentage that gets the budget to be pushed to be the face of something, we need more of that in a consistent basis. It was amazing to see Paris do the Xbox showcase. That was huge, right? But we're in 2026. That only happened one time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's nice to see IGN start to have some people there, but it's very sporadic. And when you look in the comparison. So that's what I would say. We need to have more black faces, not just there, but also supported with the machine behind them. So just like when you see Jake from State Farm in these State Farm commercials, we need that type of energy in the gaming industry on a consistent basis. And then that's when it balances out. So it makes it feel like everybody is really involved
Right.
versus just a certain section of people involved. So that's the full breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, look, the representation is also contributing to society's misunderstanding of gaming because there's been so many images of like white kid in the suburbs, like that's who the gamers are. But a lot of brands and marketing teams think that. But now we realize that gaming is cross-generational. You have people of all different walks of life. They're all playing games in different forms. So I think that contributes to it. And then in general, it seems like, the black audience is underrepresented in all the media that goes out around gaming, even though they make up a huge percentage of the gaming audience, which if you're a brand trying to reach a broader demo, you're not speaking to them or it's not showing up in a proper way across media, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest reasons for that is shout out to my family over at GamesBeat. I host a lot for GamesBeat, and one of the events that we did, we do the Hollywood and games, during the
Yep,
Game
yep.
Awards,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So what happened is I forgot the gentleman's name. He got a book, but he was on stage and he made a statement that was so powerful, and I agree with him 100%. He was like, every company should have a gaming division.
Yes.
Every company, I don't care if you Dunkin' Donuts, every company should have a gaming division within it.
Bastion
Period.
Bastion Bergen. He was on the
Yes,
show.
yes,
He was on the show.
yo,
He's on Brands of Play. He's great.
yes. Had to spin a chain for him. Had to spin a chain for him, bro. So that's what I'm talking about. So to me, it's one of those situations where they'll do a Google search and be like, hey, I guess this is right. Like, they don't live it. They don't know it. Like, everything is hearsay
They're
when
not
it comes to that.
gamers.
Yeah, because
Often.
and they don't have an internal division that they can either have inside or outsource to rely on. But if they don't have that, then everything is going to be hearsay. And then they're spending a lot of money and they're not even getting the most out of the money that they're spending, and they don't even realize it. So that's one of the biggest problems that you're going to see in any industry. If you don't have a gaming division, but you're trying to do gaming, you're going to have a problem eventually.
You really have to understand the audience that you're attempting to speak to. You work with so many different brands in really interesting ways. I want you to talk about your partnership with Chase and what you're doing
Oh,
with
wow.
the Playmakers program. Can you
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
that and kind of what value that brings?
Yeah, so let me give you the story on that. So this is October 2021. Yeah, 2021, right? So yeah, 5 years ago. So I went to open up my official my official business account with Chase, right? When I went to open up the account, the name of my company is called Grandma's Boy Entertainment.
Cool.
Obviously, you know what I'm saying?
From the
Like, you know what I'm
story,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, so Grandma's Boy Entertainment. So I asked my homegirl, well, she was my homegirl at the time, but there was a lady, her name was Natasha. And it was funny because she's pregnant at the time. And I asked her, I said, hey, how come like Chase never did anything in gaming? I already know these answers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just need to hear them say it so I could create the situation on why I could be valuable to this establishment.
Yeah.
So I asked the question and they was like, why we never even thought of it? Like, whatever. I like, we should talk because I have a gaming program in schools and I know that financial literacy is important to the Department of Education so that these students will get to know about how to be financially healthy at an earlier age because we didn't have that. And now by
So
law,
much
they
needed.
have to learn it. You see what I'm saying? So why not learn it through a medium that we love? So instead of it just being some boring workshop about money, I can actually have them make money through something that they're interested in. And now that they're making money, the workshop serves more of a value because
Yeah.
I actually got money now. Like, you know what I mean? So this is gonna hit different. So they love the idea, they love the concept and everything like that. Part of the deal was I had to go through this Chase Bank program so I can know what it's like, what the program is like that I'm actually about to put off to the
Yep.
world too. So I love that. I like that they make you go through it so you can learn more about how they operate. I love this. So I did it and everything. It was incredible. Shout out to my man Kofi. He's incredible. So I did that, right? So then that led to us doing our very first ever financial gaming roadshow. So what we did was we went to all the boroughs in New York. We went to Harlem, we went to Brooklyn, Queens, we went to Long Island, Yonkers, like all these other places. And what we did was we did our Playmakers, like our Get Money Gamers, like TV show, but it was a combination where we get the students and we get the parents together so they could learn about money. And then we had a gaming tournament so they could learn about money through video games.
Dope.
Unbelievable, never been done before. It was crazy. It was so good. It was so amazing that they wanted me to sign a contract to be an official like
Spokesperson.
partner with Chase Bank. And I was like, oh my
Cool.
gosh, like yo bro, this is unbelievable. So did that. And what people don't understand is even in the content creation world, I try to tell people one thing about me, Nick, like, you know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't curse, and like I never did, like in terms of like drinking and smoking and so like I never did those things, but like in my life. But you know, cursing, like me personally, you know, my relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I just made a conscious decision to just not do that anymore because somebody challenged me to make music without cursing.
Mm.
And when I did it, I loved the fact that I didn't have to be censored anymore. I can literally just be free with my words
Yeah.
and my vocabulary extended. So all that stuff played a role. But the reason why that's important is because with Chase Bank, they do a a federal check on you. Like this is something
Yeah.
different, the stuff that they go
Gotta be
through to make
clean.
sure. Yeah. So you can't even get the type of deal that I got like unless like you right for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we did that. And now that we did that, the national team at Chase Bank got wind of what we was doing locally. And then they was like, yo, how can we take this national? So long story short, the partnership is so huge and it's growing so big that we are officially going national. New York, Atlanta, LA, it's going to be crazy. But not only that, Chase Bank wants to be known as the bank for gamers. And there's
That's
things
sick.
that I got planned with them right now that's never been done before. So that's what I mean by relationship and building things out and learning one another and coming together to properly serve to give the world something that they never had before that they can use. And that's how I work with brands. They are really partners of mine. We develop a family relationship. So it's not just, hey, I'm gonna pay you to say something. You know what I mean? That's come on, bro. We bigger than that now.
Yeah.
So that's how that came to fruition. It was crazy.
Oh man, I love that story. It's like very like empowering and you know, teaching financial literacy across the board to the youth is like so needed, as we all
Yeah.
know. But it's really cool, and props to you for doing it, but also props to Chase for having the foresight to you know, attach themselves to gaming in a way that's sort of gaming adjacent by partnering like with an amazing, you know, creator like yourself, like HipHopGamer, and then reaching the gaming audience. But they didn't go in and build something inside of a game. They didn't like sponsor a tournament. This is like,
Yeah.
you know, would you call it like a public service type of
Yeah.
strategy that's aligning with gaming. I think it's so
Yep.
clever, and I rarely see brands take that path. I mean, they always want to take the path of like running media or hire, you know, sponsoring a streamer or something. But this is
Yeah.
clever, and so props to that.
Bro, and what I love about it, and before you go to the next question, what I love about it, and what I want other creators to get out of this, like stop, especially as a content creator, stop waiting for opportunities to come to you. Create opportunities that can benefit you and also others that will be able to see it and experience it. The only reason why this whole Chase deal happened is because I asked a question about what they don't have and
Yeah.
why they don't have something. You want to know why? Because whatever you don't got, I can be the answer to solve that problem.
Yeah.
So, as a content creator, what problems out there right now that you feel you can solve? And if you can solve it, create the opportunity that solves the problem.
Be proactive. Don't wait for
Yeah.
millions and millions of followers until you approach a brand. Like, figure out if you got a clever idea and you can make impact, be direct.
There you go. Because we can make the moment happen. Yo, there's people that got 100 followers versus people that got 1 million followers. It don't matter. When you make the moment happen, then the whole world gonna know it. That's why I love like places like America's Got Talent and American Idol, because all you got to do is be great on a platform that they built for you to be seen on.
Yeah. In your opinion, what do you think really works? And also, what is like
Ooh.
cringe and you want to see less of?
Wow, that's a phenomenal question, bro. I love that. So let me start with the cringe part first. It's so like
Please.
that. So the cringe part, before you even get to the deal, is you looking at somebody's numbers and following without even knowing who the person is or even caring who they are. That is cringe before we even get to the actual result of why it gets cringe. So that's the first thing, dog. How One of the biggest issues I tell content creators this all the time. The more and more you post your numbers, the more and more people are only going to see you as a number. I'm going to say it again. The more and more you post your numbers, you will only be seen as a number. And you know what that means? That means that when your numbers is up, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Let's work together. When your numbers is down or you're not reaching certain goals, we'll pass.
Quality
So
over quantity.
there you go. So the thing is, like, how you expect to reach people at the same time you take the soul out of the project? I'm gonna say it again. How do you expect to reach people when you start off taking the soul out of the project? The numbers that have nothing to do with the soul or something. It's the moment. Who did you
Yeah.
impact? Why do they care?
And real
So
engagement,
yeah,
like that's
real
the thing,
engagement. Yeah.
right? Like, this is what immersive marketing is all about, in my opinion. When you can create something and reach and connect with your audience in a way that they care about and they choose to participate with, and then all of a sudden they're getting value from that, and they're like, wow, this is awesome. I like this. What is this brand? Oh, that's cool. I like that brand. So valuable. Not easily scalable, but extremely valuable from a marketing standpoint.
One of the things that I'm doing right now with my playmakers at the schools is I'm creating stream teams. So if you remember back in the day, right, especially at a record label and stuff like that, 'cause like, long story short, but I used to supervise the mailroom for all the record labels back in 2000 all the way to like 2014 and stuff like that. So I know everybody, Universal, Def Jam, Rockefeller, like you name them, I've been around them, Interscope, all of that. So they used to have the street teams where you see all the
Yeah.
posters and everything, the flyers all over the place, like real street teams. So in this era, the digital era where we live in now, we're gonna have stream teams.
Mm,
So I can set it up to where I'm like, yo, starting July 1st, we're gonna have a stream team in rotation 24 hours to promote your game every day, all day. And we
that's
got
dope.
8 streamers and they all take a turn, like 4-hour intervals or something like that. And now you have a dedicated stream team and stuff like that, pushing your game, building a community for you. And it doesn't matter if they are big or small. It's the fact that they are building together and putting people onto this game. And fire. Something like that would be fire. It'll be real. You can engage with them all day, every day for 24 hours straight in a loop for a month. You know how
Yeah.
crazy, yo,
It
bro.
makes a lot of
So
sense.
it'd be insane. But brands don't think like that. You want to know why? Going back to Bastion, nobody has a gaming division internally that can take care of what they're trying to do in the gaming industry permanently.
Yeah, you gotta build on connecting with communities. You can't just,
Yeah.
like, pop in and pop out. You have the same long-term impact. But I wanna transition over because, look, I've followed your your work across the board on social, and you talk a lot about GTA 6, and I feel like you've got some
Yes.
insider knowledge.
Of
And,
course I
like,
do.
yeah, please let us know what's going on. We talk about it on the show a lot. Obviously, it's gonna be one of the biggest moments in entertainment history coming out in November. All these brands want to attach themselves to it. We know that Rockstar doesn't do brand deals. There's
Right.
rumors that GTA 6 is going to have like an open world sort of UGC component where people can build their own things, but that's not going to be available at launch. We know at launch is
Yeah, it's
just
not
not
really
even the
available on
multiplayer, just the single player story mode. So, what do you know that we don't know? And how do you think brands should be approaching this GTA 6 moment in November?
Got you. So one thing I'm gonna say, I haven't said this yet. So I'm gonna say this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Brands and Play. Nick, you my guy. So I'm gonna give you two things though. Check this out. One thing I could tell you, the gameplay in Grand Theft Auto 6 is completely different from every other Grand Theft Auto you ever played. Completely different. And what I mean by completely different, you still got the third person shooter and stuff like that. You still have that. But the difference comes into the way it's gonna feel because of the AI technology that surrounds the game and it
Mm-hmm.
surrounds the world and the immersion that you're in. The things that you're gonna be able to do. Like, for example, right? Everybody knows, you steal the car and get in and stuff like that. It's not just that anymore. Even the process of stealing a car and getting out and certain gameplay things that you could do even when you're in the car and stuff like that is unbelievable. So I'm gonna put it like this. Rockstar had the opportunity and the time to literally do things that's never been seen before in
Mm-hmm.
open world action games. They had the budget and the time, and they have the talent. So this was purely an opportunity for them to leverage a lot of their patented technology. If you go look up some of the technology that they patented under the umbrella Take-Two Interactive, go to some of the patents and see some of the things that they got granted to do.
Mm-hmm.
You never seen anything like this ever in any game in terms of how it's going to be constructed, from the getting in the car, getting out the car, and the gameplay within the car and stuff like that. That's going to be crazy. Remember, there's two people. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
two main characters, right?
Yeah, two main characters. So wait till you see how that works in tandem. That's another big gameplay different shift, because it's not only let me just choose this character, choose this character. There's gonna be ways to do things together. I'll just throw that out there. It's gonna be insane. Then another thing I want to say is I gotta be careful how to say this. Okay, so going back to the UGC part, one thing that I want to tell y'all is Grand Theft Auto 6 wasn't just made for games. Like, it was actually made for the film and television market, like industry. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. You see how Epic Games built Unreal Engine, but it's not just used for games anymore. They
Yeah,
use Unreal
also
Engine
used for the
for
VFX industry and production. Yeah, yep.
yeah. So Grand Theft Auto 6 as a game and the technology in it will also be used for film and television and stuff like that, especially when the UGC stuff come. To give you one example so you can understand what I'm saying, imagine launching a movie campaign inside of Grand Theft Auto 6 and everything is changed like that. Now, we've seen Fortnite levels, we've seen Sinners in Fortnite, we've seen certain things like that. You never seen it like how they'll be able to build it in this type of fashion. Like, imagine being able to create a whole storyline to promote a drink. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but within the world of the UGC that's gonna be available to us. Like
When's
stuff
that
like
coming?
that. Oh, I can't no. I can't say nothing about
Do you
when it's
know and
coming.
you're not saying, or you don't know?
No, I don't know. I don't know
Y-
when that's gonna
Okay,
drop. So
but
I
you've
don't know.
seen what's going on. You see it.
Oh,
It
oh yeah,
feels
yeah, yeah. It's
intense.
crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So then another thing I would tell you is something that people's gonna be real blown away by is how Grand Theft Auto. Now, I didn't play the latest version of the game to tell you how it feels and stuff like that. But I know people who did. Like, people, and they played a good bit of it. What I can say is the feel of Grand Theft Auto 6, like the responsiveness and stuff like that, it's the type of game that even in the world of action adventure, somebody like an esports pro would find a lot of love in it.
Ooh, okay. All right.
That
I like that.
Yeah, so even if you're a hardcore fan of esports and you like competition, the feel of Grand Theft Auto 6 will make you love this game. For those that's not used to Grand Theft Auto or may not play those
Right.
types of games, if you hardcore Counter-Strike and stuff like that, you will find a love for Grand Theft Auto 6. That's how unbelievable and intricate they was able to get the gameplay with Grand Theft Auto. Nobody has ever done what we are about to experience in terms of immersion, in terms of intricacy and detail, in terms of feel and density of the world and the environment. The game itself is its own character. And I'll leave it at that. But the game itself is its own character. So it's not about only what you can control. It's about what happens around you that creates new control you haven't experienced yet. And that's the punchline of Grand Theft Auto 6. When I tell y'all, I'm literally from November 19th to January 3rd is going to be my vacation time, and I never take vacation. But it's over. Like it's
You got to
bro,
play.
like it's over. Like I don't care what nobody say, bro. Like GTA 6, people could say, oh, the price of the I don't care. Everybody's lying. I'm telling you, everybody's lying. When people get a chance to experience, put it like this. You see how crazy Astrobot is with the controller or how PlayStation has it?
Yeah.
There's certain things, there's certain gameplay mechanics. When they say PS5 Pro Enhanced, and when you see the best place to play PlayStation, you ain't never see it like this. You ain't never see it like this.
I mean, it may be
Guaranteed.
one of the deepest games, most advanced games ever made. And if you're comparing the film industry to the gaming industry, it may just like entertainment in general, it is one of the biggest moments in entertainment that is going to be talked about for a long time. So thanks for confirming all the hype. I'm definitely excited for November. All right, last question before we go.
All right.
Look, I think, the entertainment industry has shifted. The biggest thing used to be films in Hollywood. Now it's gaming. There's so much demand for more interactivity, new technologies. Where do you see the entertainment industry going in 10 years from now? What does that look like?
10 years from now, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. 10 years from now, mostly all the workflows is going to be handled by agentic AI.
Yeah.
Most of the workflows. And to prove my point, there's a video that I put out November 18th, 2024, where I confirmed that Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to be 60 frames per second and PSSR 2.0 was dropping. I broke that. Sorry, everybody else be trying to take credit for stuff they ain't break, but I just had to make that clear. But what I want to tell you is I had a conversation with one of the developers at Insomniac Games, and even them, in the process of doing Spider-Man 2, they was like, yo, AI is a great tool because it helps set a tone on how they wanted to build out the game. But they leverage, AI to even get to a real good starting point, and it was easier for them to execute the things that they wanted to do, and I love it. Going in 10 years from now, bro, literally, all you're going to have to do is think it. And
Yeah.
they will do it. And then all you have to do is have slight edits on what gets produced.
Yeah.
And then the hardest part in 10 years, the hardest thing is going to be, because the battle is not going to be on who's the most creative in terms of building something. It's not going to just be that. The hardest part is going to be, how can I leverage your attention away from something else for this period of time with what I created? And even though that still holds weight now, it's going to be that much more prominent 10 years from now. So your skill set is going to have to be, how good am I at making sure that I can build a relationship with you for 2 hours straight without you getting bothered by the noise and distractions? How
Yeah.
good am I to keep you with me for 2 hours?
Engagement,
And
retention.
the engagement, retention in 10 years is going to be harder
Yeah.
to maintain, because everybody
Is a
is going to
creator.
get there you go. There
Everything's
you
just
go.
gonna it's
There
gonna
you go.
flood. And that's why I think taste and curation has even become more valuable you know, when everybody is just flooding the zone with content. You know, it's like,
Yep.
how do you choose? Who do you follow? Like, it's a weird world that we're gonna step into. Well, you heard it here on Brands in Play, some insider knowledge on GTA 6 and HipHopGamer. I just gotta say thank you so much for joining us on Brands in Play, man. And you're doing impactful work out there. Please keep it up. Much respect.
Thank you so much, man. One other, God bless. To go to the game, HipHopGamer, Brands in Play. Love you, Nick. Let's get it. Peace.
Likewise. Let's go back to the show. All right, and we're back after talking to HipHopGamer. Man, that guy has so much energy. I really love talking to him. And I think what's really important is he's bringing a fresh perspective to the video game space and video game media. You know, it's been traditionally sort of homogenous for a while, and I think there's underrepresented voices that aren't showing up there. I think he really helps shed light on that, and so big fan of that guy. What'd you think?
Yeah, I love the connection between like hip hop and gaming. Like we've seen, for example, like Travis Scott do it really well. Like we've seen Playboy Cardi as well, like launch some stuff on Fortnite and everything. So I think there is a huge connection, and I think it's kind of like not very well explored. Like I think there's so many opportunities there. Plus, as you said, the angle of like the representation of like, underrepresented communities, underrepresented voices as well, which is like, it's a big thing for hip hop. And I think, it deserves more space in the gaming world. And I particularly love the charity project
With Chase.
in partnership with Chase. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Like, I love, like, I used to do a lot of charity work for, underrepresented kids in Brazil. So it's like I really connect with the guy's mission. And yeah, I think like, I think we should see more of that. Like I think your world needs more of that. So I absolutely love it.
100%. We got to move on. That was a banger episode. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening, and a big shout out to HipHopGamer for coming on the show. And also, of course, you, Eli, co-hosting. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Nick. It's always a pleasure. We've got a great episode lined up for next week, and I cannot wait to do it all over again. Like the discussions that we have are also always very productive. The guests also like bringing a lot of value. So yeah, looking forward.
Yeah, could not agree more. And if you're enjoying Brands in Play, make sure to follow the show, because every week we break down how brands, platforms, and creators are showing up across gaming, entertainment, and immersive media. And that's a wrap.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us today. We really appreciate you. And if you want to follow us on LinkedIn, you already know it. Eli Santos and Nick Hill. Please find us there. We are always posting valuable content. And if you want to hear more about smart glasses, listen to my podcast, Metavertising. And Edward, please read us out.
And that was Brands in Play. Thank you for joining the podcast where we explore immersive marketing and the people who are leading it. Our show today was produced and edited by myself, Edward Regiu. Be sure to join us every week for brand new episodes.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views, policies, or positions of host employers. The information shared during this podcast is based on personal experience and publicly available information and is intended for informational purposes only. Any references to specific platforms, companies, or partnerships are made in a personal capacity and do not imply endorsement, partnership, or official association with any organization mentioned.